All right, welcome, Real Talking Real Estate family. This is your host, Corey Smith. Also in the building with me, of course, I have the Hyman, the Philosopher Lemons.
What's the deal? I guess you didn't want to give people your nickname, huh? It's okay, say your nickname.
That's okay. Yeah, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. In the building with us, we have two of community activists, if you can call it that. In the building right here, I have Anjanette Thibodeau. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
I did.
You did.
Because I messed it up before. She got on me about that. Miss Thibodeau, can you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure, Corey, and thank you for having me on the show. Again, I am Anjanette Thibodeau. I am the president of the Acres Home Super Neighborhood Council. I am also national director for Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, NACA. So I'm actually happy to be here today.
Glad to have you. Yes, glad to have you. Also, we have none other than Letitia Grant.
Yes,
How you doing, man?
Yes, I'm doing wonderful, Thank you, guys, of course.
Can you tell the people a little bit about yourself, man?
I sure can. My name is Letitia Grant. I am the first vice president of the Acres Home Super Neighborhood, also broker owner of TAS Realty Group.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Her and the closer do real well. They got to do a plug.
Every time.
Every time.
You got to make sure it's always marketed. Business is marketed, ain't it?
That's right.
So a lot of good things going on in the Acres Home community. Can you talk, Ms. Thibodeau, a little bit about what's going on, what's NACA doing for the community, and how it's helping people to get inside homes?
Sure. It's a great day in Acres Homes. It's a great day in Houston as it refers to NACA. NACA has just dedicated $100 million into the city of Houston with emphasis and focus on District B, primarily deep interest and focus in Acres Home Super Neighborhood or in the Acres Home area. So this $100 million is dedicated to the community for character-based lending, not credit score lending, but character-based lending. And the theory behind this program and the spirit behind the program is that if you can afford your rent, you can afford that same amount in a mortgage payment.
You gotta love that. You gotta love that. So you mean to tell me it's not credit based, so there's no minimum credit score or nothing like that?
No, it's not. Absolutely not.
Okay. So if somebody's interested in thinking about actually seeing what the NACA program has to offer, what are some of the basic qualifications that they need to have?
Well, first you have to have 12 consecutive rental payments.
Okay.
Because again, we're basing this off of your true affordability. And so at that point, you have to show proof of income as well.
Yes.
And then you have to show, we do pull the credit report because we want to look at your debt because it is a DTI. So we have to look at your debt to income ratio and that's pretty much it. We look at that and we base it on true affordability because oftentimes we get to the point where we say, well, we can make a $1,200 payment. And you probably can make a $1,200 payment, but how much house is that going to get you when you factor in principal, interest, tax, and insurance? And all of our mortgage payments have principal, interest, tax, and insurance. And we are no money down, no closing costs, all in. And we have partnered with the city of Houston so that the $30,000 grant that they have available can be used for, guess what? Buy down. That's interest rate buy down. Our interest rate is always going to be the lowest. Right now, I think it's traveling at a 3.75.
Okay.
And that means that you can take the $30,000 from the city of Houston and put that, because there's no money down on the mortgage, you can put that towards your buy down on your rate. So you can buy down your rate to as little as 0%.
Oh my God.
That's it.
It is possible.
About signing me up. Ms. Grant, can you talk to the people a little bit? So now NACA is doing great things for Acres Home. They're doing great things as far as putting people in houses. As we know, in these neighborhoods, a lot of times the problem is these people being able to have money. So you being the agent that you are, I'm sure you helping a lot of people get inside these homes. Can you talk to a little bit about what it's doing for the people in the community, this NACA program?
So first of all, NACA offering or allowing you to put down the entire $30,000 that's offered by the city to buy your interest rate down to 0% is probably the biggest thing. That, along with the fact that it's character-based lending. So now we're talking about an individual that now can purchase a home, 0% interest, character-based lending. There's not necessarily a need for any additional programs at that place or at that point. So those are some of the things. We're taking someone that could not have purchased a home to now being able to be a homeowner.
Oh, I love it. adding great value to the neighborhood.
Correct.
Now, let's talk a little bit. I want to kind of change topics here a little bit and talk about the community land trust program. For those people out there that's never heard of it, this is the first time even knowing about it, even hearing about it. Ms. Grant, can you talk to them and explain them a little bit about what's the CLT initiative and what the program kind of offers to the public?
So there is a community land trust. There's also the community land bank. Most people are aware of the LARA program. The LARA program was replaced with the land bank program, and now we have the land trust program. The land trust program does allow an individual to get into a home. I do believe that they're reduced the purchase price to about $86,000. Reducing that purchase price down that low, that allows a very low income, because when we look at it, we look at very low, moderate income.
Right.
So for this particular one, that's allowing an individual with a very low income to get into a home, which is a great thing. The offset to that is, or the exchange to participating in the program, is the fact that you do not own the land. You are on a 99-year lease that is renewed.
Ms. Thibodeau, you have anything to add as far as the CLT, just kind of the basics of it?
You know what? Letitia did a great job of summing it up. And I will be the first to say, when the program, first came out or whatever, I did not like this program. I wasn't a fan of the program. And the reason is because your ownership, your wealth is in the land.
Yes.
So why lease me the land
Yes.
and let me, purchase the house? I really haven't done a purchase. I'm actually doing fancy leasing.
Yes.
And so I'm okay with the CLT program as an option, because maybe the younger Angie Annette probably, I could safely say I probably would have thought about it. I don't think I would have done it, but I would have thought about it. But when you know better, you do better. So my thing about the CLT program, and there are CLT and community land banks all across the country. Hawaii does it to preserve their land. If you're not a native of Hawaii, you're not going to come in there and buy any type of property. So they have the community land trust. I totally am a fan of preserving the land. What I need everyone to be clear about is educating themselves on the product before they purchase it. Because understand that the bank, the community land bank, actually owns the land. You're just buying the house. Right. So when you understand that and have a clear notion and understand what you're getting yourself into, I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is saying, hey, here's a house that would have cost $180,000, but guess what? For the low price of $74,000, you can get it for. I don't like that. That's what I don't like. If you're gonna tell me something, tell it all,
right.
A to Z, cradle to grave. Tell it all, and then let them make an educated guess based on their own individual financial situation. That's customization. I'm all for that. Educating themselves. That's all I'm saying.
Including the fact that once you've paid the house, you cannot move it. Because originally, when I first heard about the program, I was like, oh, okay, it's just like a trailer house. You lease the land, and when you're done, you pick your trailer up and you move it to the next lot if you want to own it. But in this particular case, you can't pick your home up, even though that home is on Pier and Bean. You can't pick it up and move it to a lot that you own. Right. It must remain.
Okay. So then I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit. And I'm going to ask this. For the actual homeowner that's a little bit concerned, I don't own my own land. And we all know political parties each have their own agenda, and they change their mind and what their kind of goals are. Is it right to say that a homeowner needs to feel a little concerned about, if we have a new political party that actually gets in, that they could possibly come in and yank the land out from under them?
I don't think so. No. Because that's the reason for the bank.
Okay.
That's the reason for the community land bank. The bank actually owns the land now. Right. All the Laura lots was technically given to the bank. And there are theories and there are notions, there are rumors about how that was even done. So how did this bank come in and say, hey, City of Houston, I'm the best person to host and take upon all your 240 plus Laura lots? And the city said, okay, we're going to put them in this bank, and we're going to let you be the mediator over all the land or whatever. So who really owns the land? That's the question.
That's the $1 million question.
Who really owns the land? And then you want to let me throw a wrench in the spokes for you. Think about it. You understand the concept of gentrification, right?
Yes.
Understanding the concept of gentrification. Here you are with a CLT home that you bought for $85,000, 86. Letitia's
You're
going to
right.
correct me.
What?
So $86,000.
Somewhere in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you're living in this property, but the appraised value is $180,000, correct? Okay, so the market value of that home is $180,000. Here's Miss Sue over here, pillar in the community, been living here for 40, 50 years, and her home is literally valued at, let's say, $90,000. She's okay, she's doing fine, she owns her house and everything. But this $180,000 valued home, now, guess what's going to happen to Miss Sue over here when it's time for taxes? The value, and her house is bigger. Miss Sue lives in a 2,200 square foot home. Your home is what? Let's say 1,600 square feet. Guess what happens to Miss Sue's 2,200? Okay, you're following me?
Of course.
And we talk about we're preventing gentrification. Sweetie, Miss, you just moved Miss Sue out of her house. Gentrification at its best. And you heard it here first.
But let's talk about generational wealth.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, where is the generational wealth when we talk about you being on a 99-year lease?
Yes.
So for me, and personally, I promote generational wealth. And the purpose of generational wealth is so that, I mean, my grandfather purchased a home for $1,500 that I own today. That is the perfect definition of generational wealth. That has been passed down from generation to generation. Well, he's able to do that because not only do we own the house, we also own the land. So am I a major advocate for it? I am definitely not, because I feel that there are other ways for you to accomplish that goal, meaning having a lower priced property. And whether that mean that we need to combine assistance programs, because there's so many programs that are out there. There's $45,000 in down payment assistance located just in the city of Houston. And that excludes the opportunity of you qualifying for MCC. Can we find a property, combine all those things together? You own the home and the land.
Right.
Right. Of course. And then I guess that's where the value of the NACA program come in at.
There we go.
Because this way you get a chance to own the land and the actual property.
Absolutely.
And it kind of lends on that generational wealth that we talk about, because then you have something to actually hand down to.
Right.
It goes back to kind of the 40 acres and a mule.
Don't get me started.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's a different show, folks. That is a different show.
That's a different show. Huh?
But seriously though, just really, I really want the general public to think about it, because they feel like, you know, the Acres Home Super Neighborhood Council is a radical and they're against the CLT program. No.
Right.
Never against providing our own with options.
That's right.
It's educating our own about the options. And you being forthright saying, you know what, we got the CLT program, but having everybody else forget about you just raised the property value on a whole street.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Don't forget about that.
Yes.
Don't be fooled about the smoke screen. So no, you're not going to mute me. I can't be shook or shaken about that. I'm
Right.
going to talk about it, and I'm going to educate people about it, because guess what? My overall concern is not just one population of Acres Homes, it's the entire population of Acres Home. And let me say this again. Remember Miss Sue over here, who don't know what to do now that her next year, the taxes on her home is up? So now we got to go out and educate Miss Sue about homestead exemption and making sure she gets locked in. Because guess what? At last check, and I did check with the city on this, there's over 2,000 Acres Home citizens, senior citizens, that don't have homestead exemption that qualify.
Senior exemption. That is correct.
Yeah.
You gotta get that out.
That's a problem for me.
That's a major problem.
And this lady, Miss Sue here, was a retired school teacher. She served us. Now this is the thanks we give her
Right.
for it.
Right.
I can't have you do
That would be considered advocacy. So we can't provide you a product that we know is going to change the direction of the community without us being an advocate for the individuals that are living there.
Of course. Now,
And
now,
again,
go ahead.
let's not forget the bigger picture.
Uh-huh.
Remember, gentrification at its best.
Yes.
But we still have not yet tapped into what causes Miss Sue's property to go up. Aldine is the highest tax rate in the city. It is the high in the entire MSA. Go ahead. Did I cut you off, sweetie?
I was agreeing with you.
Yeah. So why are we not on their tails about this?
Right, of course.
These are my taxpayer dollars, and I'm paying you to screw me over?
Yeah.
No.
It
I'm
doesn't make
coming
sense.
for y'all, Dean. We
Yeah.
got to have a talk. To be continued.
That's
You're next.
Well, the issue with Aldine is not the Now, my suggestion would be is that if you're going to go after them, you have to go after them and say, okay, you can give you all of this money. Why is my schools performing? Why don't we have better?
Accountability.
Where are we going with the programs that help our community that going to put stuff back into our children to the next generation down the line? If you're going to attack that way. Because the idea of you trying to get the money back.
No. But I'm talking about community reinvestment.
Right.
I'm not for any business, any entity coming into any area without reinvesting in the community for which you making your dollar off of. Am I right, Corey?
Absolutely, 100%.
So Aldine being the biggest factor in this picture, what are you doing to hold the school systems accountable? What are you doing to give back into the community? What are you doing to promote better facilities? What are you doing?
So this leads kind of to my next question, is that when you take and you separate the actual land from the actual house, there's thousands of dollars of tax-paying money and dollars that's going to the educational budget.
Yes.
And with an already kind of strict and they're cutting back and strapped budget that the education system already has, are we hurting the community and the teachers that we can put inside these communities by taking away the tax dollars? Because at the end of the day, if the city of Houston or whatever the CL Bank owns the property, are they still paying taxes on that land?
So here's the thing. So right now we have land that taxes are not being paid on. So anytime you offer the Laura lots, because they were giving the Laura lots at $1, now you build a property and we're able to tax and receive tax funding from it. Okay. So it's not a reversal. So it's not like we're in the negative now. We're actually building more funds for taxes.
Correct.
With any building.
Right,
even if the house was $20,000,
right?
You know what you will receive from that is better than nothing.
It's still something, right? Something's better than zero.
Right.
Correct.
No, of course.
There you go.
So let me ask you this: what do you see as the future? I mean, as this thing kind of makes its way off the ground, what do you see the future for the CLT program? Is it going to go away because the NACA program is taking all the all the home ownership?
No.
Or where do you kind of see it going here in the next 5 years?
So where I was, and I actually thought about this the other day, where I am extremely concerned is it's like at Christmas time when that kid gets that nice, bright, shiny bike. They ride it for 3 months. They're extremely excited about having it. And then they realize there's maintenance associated with it. Then they realize the bike doesn't do everything that they thought it was going to do. And then they start having reserves about the bike that they have. My concern is that we have now a homeowner that realizes, wait, I'm in a 99-year lease. I'll never technically own this home. And they stop caring about the property. Yeah. That is my biggest concern. So now we have an individual living in a home that needs repairs, that needs tender loving care. Statistically, students do better when there's home ownership within their household. But that is because we now have a pride of ownership. So if the residents start to realize, oh, wait, there's no true ownership here, you then lose that pride in ownership. Now, I can't predict the future, but I'm just saying what is my fear, and that is 100% my fear.
And I get that, but to play devil's advocate to that, as long as proper education and a clear understanding and knowledge has been given, you know, you can lead them to water, but you can't make them drink. So if we've given the proper education,
proper
and
education.
You know you live on education. So if you, Letitia, I'm serious, Letitia, make sure everyone is properly informed and makes a well-educated decision. So once you've done that, really that's all you can do. But will this program go away? I don't think so. As what I like to see is the program be enhanced.
Okay.
You know, enhanced with other options. Whereas if they do get into that situation and realize what has happened, okay, do I put a silent second on the land and just help me go ahead on and own the land? Right. Or once I've made this 30-year or 15-year or whatever year commitment, now help me become a real homeowner. Right. Help me now, instead of pay this 99-year lease, help me now get another mortgage on the land, and now I own it.
Of course, of course.
So I look forward to those enhancements.
I got you. Those are some great suggestions. Now, in thinking about the future and thinking about the evolution of this program, I kind of want to think about, is this program possible to do something as far as like multifamily housing where you're doing apartments? And then, you know, I guess the idea behind it is that the cost basis for the actual owner would be less, therefore creating a low rent. But a solid and stable housing for the people of Acres Home. Kind of what's your thoughts on that?
Is that like a tax credit program for a landlord? Because you're saying
would
apartments,
be.
so as soon as you
Correct.
say apartments, I'm thinking one multi-unit, I'm thinking investor, and I'm thinking tax credit for the investor.
Right.
Not necessarily. So essentially, it's essentially, and this is the thing. I'm just devil's advocate, just throwing this out
go
there,
ahead.
right? If you're doing a house and you're trying to lower the cost basis for the actual homeowner, so you're essentially stripping the land from the actual house.
Correct.
What if you did the exact same thing for apartment
And
to
you're-
make it cheaper
to make it
in order to get in there for a more affordable rent? Or is that kind of far fetched?
Well, probably not, but it sounds similar to the way Section 8 functions.
Okay.
So there are certain ways that you can partner with the Section 8 program to do the same thing. And there's a waiting list. These are all separate. It's kind of like not Lincoln City, because I don't want to give what we call them. But,
No, don't
you know,
do
like
it.
the
Don't do
copper
it.
trees, you
Right.
know,
Give away all the secrets now.
all of those areas. It's similar to those areas where
Income-based
they're able,
housing.
and it's considered income-based housing.
Housing.
I was trying to give the name of the exact actual community,
Income-based
but
housing.
it becomes income-based housing.
Right.
So
Yes.
you're able to now discount or offer rent at a lower rate or a lower price.
Of course.
But I don't know if that is necessarily something that this community is in need of at this time.
Yeah.
Right.
We need single family residents.
Right.
Of course.
And I'm not going to say I'll never be a component, but I always err on the opposite side of the spectrum. Renting is good. It's a temporary fix.
Right.
And it helps people in a situation at their current financial state for that period in time. My ultimate goal for anybody will always be home ownership,
Yes.
because the wealth is in the land.
Right.
Yes.
I cannot stress. I have a 6-year-old. I stress that to him. Even now, wealth is in the land. You are a king. You will be wealthy. You are you're
Right.
you're the everything. I want him to understand that the wealth is in the land, so it is supposed to be yours. You're supposed to go out and possess that.
Right.
So I don't want people to sell themselves short and think that this is how they have to live every single day. No, own your home.
Of
There's
course.
plenty of land here.
Of course. And I think you're doing a great thing, because we have to sow these seeds into our young
Right.
kids at an
Absolutely.
early age.
Absolutely.
Because I think
Absolutely.
everybody else does it, but we kind of lack sometimes on doing that. But that's a whole different.
Well, I have an
different
18-year-old, and he owns a lot.
See?
He's still in high school.
Yes.
It's important in my house.
There we go.
That's right.
There we go.
Right.
And then it's not only that, we also have to kind of practice what we preach, which I think is another big thing as
Absolutely.
well. So in my understanding, this whole CLT initiative is partnered with the city of Houston. The city of Houston, from my understanding, is not signed to be on this program for the next 99 years. There will come to a time, well, what I'm thinking is the next 2 or 3 years, where their time will expire. If the city of Houston chooses at that time not to continue to participate in this program, where does it go?
And so that's a good question. And that's why I posed the question earlier on. Who is the Community Land Bank? How did the city miraculously say, hey, Community Land Bank, I'm going to give these 242 lots to you, or this X amount of lots to you? Majority of those lots, by the way, are in District B. A different story for another day. But what I'm saying is, who decided to give this to this committee, this board, this panel of people? And have we looked at the board to see who's on it? I think if you looked at it, it may be some similarities that may look a little peculiar. And so I am very, very careful about doing business. I used to, long story, just short, real quick. I used to be VP of General Motors as well as Bank of America. And the one thing I noticed that General Motors did, and I learned from them, is that the president of General Motors and the president of EDS were brothers.
Yeah.
So the technology piece of General
Yeah.
Motors, we never knew that they were keeping it in the
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
I'm saying all that to say, Acres Homes, District B, Houston. I'm saying all that to say, when you look at this board of the people that sit on the Community Land Bank, where are the similarities? There's a link somewhere. I just don't know where that is yet. To be continued.
Well, I'm gonna take it backwards because the land bank, Laura, the lots were obtained from not paying tax.
Correct.
Okay. Oftentimes, how do we get ourselves in a situation? I have a situation right now. There's 17 heirs. Everybody's arguing about whose piece is what. Right. So I'm going to go all the way backwards, and I'm going to say this, and I want the community to hear me loud and clear. If your grandmother, your great-grandmother, whomever owns a piece of property, and you are struggling with who pays what taxes, as a family, we must unite, we must come together, and we must preserve it. Because if we don't, we lose it. We lose it to the city. And then it becomes available for this Laura land bank. And now we're sitting here having a conversation as to how did they get it? Right. Well, they got it because we didn't. We didn't do what we needed to do to maintain it. Now, on the flip side, I'm not saying that we don't need to be concerned as to how it was obtained. But I am concerned with the fact that we can sit here day in, day out. We can go buy Jordans. We can do whatever it is that we want to do with our money. However, we have a piece of property, regardless if we want to live there or not. It is our piece of property. And all we have to do is send a check in once a year.
Right.
If your grandparent or whomever it is passes away, make note that the year that they pass away is when taxes become due. They do not back tax you. Right. They become due at that point. Oftentimes, people will think that you can slide beneath the radar, and you cannot, because when they find out, they will backdate it up to the year that that person passed away. And now we're talking about taxes in an area where the tax rate is 2.56%. Oftentimes, these lots are priced in an appraisal district $10,000. Let's talk about what that equates to. How much money is that every year? I had one of my properties with a house on it annually. When I was 17 years old, I was writing a check to Paul Bittencourt in the amount of $500. Don't tell me you don't have $500. This don't even have to be a conversation. That's right. I am frustrated because the city is able to do this in our community because we did not listen. We did not educate ourselves. So I am frustrated for that fact, but my frustration does not allow people to take advantage of us either.
Right. So one of the things that we as a super neighborhood council want to do to mitigate this going forward, because those 242 lots are gone.
They're gone.
And we can cry over spilled milk, or either we can, when we know better, we do better.
That's right.
So what this council is primarily trying to do is educate our community.
Right.
Make sure they understand air property. Make sure they understand homestead exemption. Make sure they understand that as soon as grandma, whomever passes away, the family does, as Letitia say, need to get together to make a decision. And though there may be some uncomfortableness behind who gets what or whatever, while you're doing that, understand that time is ticking, the clock is ticking, and time is of the essence to make those decisions. We are going door to door if we have to, and start knocking on doors to make sure that people are well informed and educated. And I think that is a complete community. When you are reinvesting back into the education and the knowledge of your community, that makes it complete. It takes a village.
And then now, for the people that's actually watching this, that's like, hey, look, they're hitting on some great points. Where do I start? Where do I go to get myself educated? Where would they need it? What are their first steps in order to get themselves educated so that they can do it?
I love it, and I love that question. We have made ourselves, the Acres Home Super Neighborhood Council was recognized by the city. It started back with Lee Brown, Mayor Lee Brown. He started the Acres Home Super Neighborhood Council from an ordinance. And that ordinance was because so much was coming to the city, this new mayor, so much was coming to him from different communities, and it was coming the same, similar issues, similar concerns, my sidewalk, my park, my street, or whatever. And so the super neighborhoods was created as a sounding board so that he would have one voice coming to him to represent the community. So all the civic clubs, churches, businesses, all entities within these communities are supposed to roll into the super neighborhood, and that's how it was structured. So the first thing to do is get involved with your civic club. If you don't know who that is, come to the Super Neighborhood Council meeting, our Acres Home Super Neighborhood Council meeting. We actually have a state of the neighborhood coming up. We have a town hall coming up this Thursday, April 18th at 7:00 p.m. at the Acres Home Multi-Service Center. But even for people that are not in Acres Home, get involved with your Super Neighborhood Council. hold us accountable, because guess what? We have the ear of our district, our city councilman. We have the ear of our at-large councilman, and we sometimes have the ear of our mayor, who wants to know what's happening on the grassroots level. So that's the first thing, getting involved, not just thinking, as Letitia said, this is just going to blow away. We're going to slide under the radar. Hey, we got to come up.
Right.
It doesn't
It's
happen
not-
like that.
No, it punishes you twice.
Oh, of course.
And outside of that, I'm just gonna throw this in here. You may not, everyone can't afford to have an attorney. You may not have an attorney. How do we prevent this land from us needing to do an heirship affidavit? That is one of the most uncomfortable affidavits I have ever had to do, is an heirship affidavit. Write it down on a piece of paper of what you want to go where. Sign it and get it recorded. That is just about as close to free as you can get.
Simple.
Start there, and then come in. Bring your concerns. We're there every third Thursday at 6:30. I always say 6 o'clock because that's what time I have to be there. But
Hey,
every
but you
third
know, for
Thursday.
some black people, you gotta say 6 o'clock. They show up there at 6:30. So yeah, you was right. You was right.
Let us say it.
Come out, be there, listen to what's going on in your community, and be an advocate for your community. Don't just come in, sit down, and hang tight. There's a lot of stuff to do.
Oh, absolutely. Well, hey, look, this was a great conversation. I appreciate y'all for coming out. If they need to get in contact with y'all, can y'all just kind of give them a little bit of information about how they can get in touch with y'all?
Sure, you can reach us. You can email us at acreshomessnc@gmail.com. That's Acres with an S at the end, Homes with an S at the end, S as in Sam, N as in Nancy, C as in Charlie, @gmail.com. Or you can call our line at 346-243-2036. That's 346-243-2036.
Miss Grant?
That's
Oh, that's it. That's it.
That's
That's
it.
it. It's all
We
one.
work together.
Everybody
we
has
redirect
access.
Everybody wants
everything
it. It's
where
a
it needs
team.
to go. That's right.
I got
That's
you.
right. As one.
Well, again, we appreciate y'all for joining us. I'm the Money Man Smith. We got the philosopher over there, Mr. Quiet.
Provide no quality content. Our great guests. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming out. I want to give a big shout out to our partner, Soul Sensation, Aaron Hedge, who is the owner of the business. Fortunately, he was supposed to be here so we can interview him and we can just tie this whole big thing together as far as another business that's doing business to help the community. He's also been appointed as on the Acres Home Neighborhood Council. He has a little plaque right here that he's excited about. So he's going to be knee deep in the business with you guys,
Good deal.
helping you guys coming out to the events, providing wonderful, delicious delight that you guys. And
That was
once
a
again,
tongue
he's
twister.
one of our partners with us. We love to come in and record our show. Anytime we do anything, he will be there with us. I want to thank you guys. Check us out. We'll talk. Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
And by the way, that chicken was absolutely amazing.
There we go.
I look
There we
forward to
go.
him joining the council.
Real live reviews right here. Their information, our information is, make sure y'all check us out on Facebook, Real Talking Real Estate. Also check us out on Instagram, Real Talking Real Estate. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. We also on YouTube now, Real Talking Real Estate. We catch y'all on the next one. All right. Later.
All right.